Hello and welcome to the mobility series. Today I want to take you through a routine that's going to focus on the shoulder, around the shoulder blade, and we're going to do some work around the hips. So for this session we need maybe a tennis ball, some kind of foam roller or rolled up towel. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to start off on our back and just working through our thoracic spine rotation. So this is a fantastic exercise just to work through the upper back. So we're going to drop our left knee to the side and we're going to hold on to that left knee with our right hand. Okay, so just grab close to the knee. Now with our left hand, we're going to try and reach our right foot. And we're just going to hold that there. So it's just a little step forward from our usual back rotation, where we're not grabbing hold of our legs at all and we're reaching our arms up. We're actually just grabbing hold of our legs and we're just getting a little bit more intensity through there. So I'll just spin that round just so you can see. So we're dropping the knee over, we're reaching down, grabbing hold of our foot and holding our knee. So it's a really good move, this one, just to get that left hip a little bit further up into flexion. We're working on all our hip flexors through our right leg. We're really challenging upper back mobility. We're dropping our left shoulder down to the ground. Now if it's just a little bit too tight, we can bring that knee up a little bit and just take a little bit of that stretch out and just work. So some people are really tight through their hips, some people are really tight through the upper back. So just work with what feels good for you. And let's hang out here for a few moments. So if you're feeling something through that right thigh, through the front of that right leg, you get a nice stretch through those hip flexors, through the quads. So let's get our breathing in check, remembering our principle around nice, slow, diaphragmatic breathing. So on the inhale, and then on the exhale, release and allow yourself just to sink a little bit deeper into the posture. Come out at any stage if you just need to give the arms a bit of a shake out. So what we're also doing here is we're just working through that chest. So you may be feeling some sensation going down your left arm. We're really stretching out our pec, our chest muscle. We're just going to hold it here for a few more breaths. Allow the body just to unwind gently, don't force anything. Breathing in and then breathing out. Okay, good work. Let's swap sides. So bringing that right knee over the top now, grabbing that right knee with the left hand, reaching back and grabbing our left foot with our right hand. And just open up that body. So it's a really good one for checking imbalances between left and right. You might find one side you're able to rotate a lot easier versus the other, and that just gives you good valuable information moving forward. Areas to work on. And we've mentioned this before about being symmetrical. I think it's a big ask to be perfectly symmetrical, but I think we're really looking for those big red flags, those obvious restrictions. So let's hold it here, nice deep breath in. And then on the exhale, drop the chest open a little bit more and sink in. You might want to bring that left leg a little bit further behind you you might be able to pull a little bit harder on that left foot. So our spine is designed to rotate and twist like this, but we very rarely get into these positions. This is a fantastic one if you've been sat at the desk for a long time. Just jump down on the ground and put the spine into this rotation. Another nice deep breath in, and then exhale all the way out, sinking a little bit deeper. Okay, good work. We're going to do that one more time on each side. So line up the spine, get the hips level, and then bring that left knee over. Grab the left knee and grab the right foot. And let's twist. Again, if this is just a little bit too much, a bit too intense, then just go for our usual back rotation where we let go of the legs and we just bring our arm up. That's absolutely fine. It's really important we don't try and force the body. Through consistent practice, you'll slowly improve mobility, flexibility. Let's breathe nice and deeply down into the belly. Again, we're working on opening up that chest. You may feel some sensation down that left arm. You may even feel some mild tingling. Okay, if you need to shake out your hand, then just release. Most of the time that tingling is due to some kind of compression through the chest on the nerves that run down the arm. If it's just mild pins and needles or tingling, work with that. Make sure it's no sharp pain. If it's sharp and it feels not good, then just ease back out. Let's have a few more breaths here. Good work. And then coming back up. And one more time, going off to our left-hand side. So bringing that right knee over, grabbing that right knee with the left hand, grabbing the left foot with our right hand. And let's just open up the chest. Relax the back. Get the breathing nice and relaxed. When we breathe diaphragmatically, nice and slowly, we enter into our parasympathetic system. We improve carbon dioxide and oxygen levels in the body. We slow down the breathing. And we set up an environment for the body actually to be able to adapt and change. Okay, a few more breaths here. And again, just take note of what it feels like from left to right. If this is easy and you're not feeling anything, we can bring that right knee a little bit higher. We can bring that left leg behind us a little bit more. We can reach further down the leg. Okay, good work. And then coming back up, nice and slowly. Okay, so I want you to grab a tennis ball or some kind of firm ball like this. Try and stay clear of maybe the cricket ball. It's a little bit intense, but some kind of ball. This is a moon ball. This is fantastic. So it's just got a bit of squidge in it, but it's quite firm. Now I just want you to find the bumpy bits in the front of your pelvis. Okay, so once you find your pelvis and the edge of your pelvis, I just want you to roll off to the side, and I just want you to place that ball in the side there, and we're just going to lay on the ball on our side. So just right in on the side of the glute, through the hip. So if you're struggling to find it, another way to find it is just standing up and just finding the two bony bits in the front here. Once you've found that bony bit, which is the front of your pelvis, just roll off, and it's just around the side here. So I want that ball just on the side there, right onto the glute. Keep the ball there, and just lay on your side. You will know when you get it in the right position. It'll be pretty tender. And we're just going to lay here on the side, so you can support the neck with the hand. And you can just roll gently through the side of the hip. You'll also know if you've hit the right spot when you may be feeling some kind of sensation down the leg, into the lower leg. As long as it's not really sharp pain and it feels manageable, then you're on the right spot. So what most people feel when they're in this position is what we refer to as trigger points. So these are trigger points, these are hypersensitive areas in a muscle or points in a muscle that refer pain or discomfort to other parts of the body. So a typical one here on the side runs down the side of the leg into the side of the calf, may even be as far as the foot. You sometimes feel it on the inside of the leg through the adductors. Now the important thing is, when we roll or we do any tennis ball work through the hips, we want to just take our time, just ease into it. I think there's a tendency to go really hard out and the body just gets quite agitated by that. So find a spot, allow that ball to sink into that spot. And again, refer back to your breathing, taking a nice deep breath in and then sink in a little bit deeper. What we can also do here, which is quite effective, is just bringing that left knee up. So we just take a bit of tension out of some of the sections of the glute, and we can just sink in a little bit more. There's also one of your hip flexors around the front of this pelvis here, which often gets quite tender, so we can move that ball a little bit further. We can just shuffle around, and it might just take a bit of work just to find those spots. So the glutes are really important for stabilisation through the pelvis. They do a lot of work when we're cycling, when we're running. They're not always working very well either, so they're often quite tender. So let's roll that ball a little bit further back now. And again, everyone will feel it differently. So I feel almost nothing towards the back, but more so in the front of that glute and into that hip flexor, your TFL. So again, just find the spot, just work through it. And again, none of this should be through the roof painful. If it is, just ease off, reposition the ball, make sure we're in the right spot. Just dial back the intensity a little bit until that muscle relaxes, and then sink in a little bit deeper. So if you do a lot of flexion driven sports like rowing, like cycling, you'll often feel real tension through this area. Let's spend a few more moments here. Breathing in and then breathing out. Okay, good work. Let's swap to the other side. So it's a fantastic one for doing when we're in front of the TV at night. So place that ball just on the side there. Find your glute, find the top of your pelvis. Just roll off that bone and sink in. So yeah, great one to do in the evening. Jump down on the ground, get the ball out, throw it in the hip. And just do some localized work around those glutes. If you consistently do this, it will, over time, improve the functionality of that muscle. So again, straight away, it's a great one for feeling left-right imbalances. Bring that knee up. And we're looking for those big differences. So this right hip for me is definitely more tender. It's definitely where I hold a lot of my imbalance in this right hip. So I'm feeling this just on the inside of my thigh through the adductors. So just taking some nice deep breaths in and then breathe out. Again, extend that leg out. Find the spot that feels good. Roll the ball towards the back of the hip. And again, just go nice and easy through here. Should feel like a really good muscle release. And just spend a few more moments finding that tender spot. Taking a nice deep breath in. And breathing out. Okay, good work. So a fantastic one to do in the evening. Just chip away at that one. So we're going to stay with the ball here. We're going to do some work around our back now. So that first posture we did, where we did the rotation, we worked through the front, through the chest. Most people, when it comes to shoulder pain, feel some kind of discomfort in the upper back. So we're going to get in and treat some of those muscles. So we're going to get the ball here, find the edge of your shoulder blade and find your spine, okay? And we want to place that ball in between the edge of the shoulder blade and your spine. We're going to lay down and just roll and get that ball in position. So once we're in that position, If it's tender, just make sure we're not pushing directly on the spine. Just roll off to the side a little bit. Now, if this position here is tender enough for you, then just stay here. What I find is really beneficial is if we start getting some active release into the equation. So we're just moving that arm up. So the muscles that attach onto the spine and onto that edge of the scapula or shoulder blade often are overworking. We predominantly have forward shoulder posture in most people. So these muscles here are holding on for dear life. We're just going to slowly elevate that right arm over the top and then bring it down. So find the spot that feels tender for you. And just work through. Bring the ball down a little bit further. So yeah, I definitely advise you to get a tennis ball in here or something with a little bit more squidginess. Steer clear of the cricket ball. Some quite delicate structures through the side of the spine here. We don't want to bruise through there. We just want to err on the side of caution. Dial back the intensity until it feels like a good discomfort. And then work through, raising that arm up, opening up the chest. And roll that ball a little bit further up. So the shoulder is inherently a very unstable joint, has a very shallow joint, requires a lot of muscular control and coordination to balance it, to ensure the head of the humerus, which is your upper arm bone, to ensure that articulates nicely and centered into that joint. Unlike your hip joint, which has a nice deep bony joint, the shoulder is slightly disadvantaged in that respect. However, it does have great range of motion, so there's some payoff for it. So we can bring the arm out to the side. So just feel what feels good for you. But when we elevate our arm overhead, our shoulder blade should, what they call, upwardly rotate, so moves off and allows freedom through the top part of your shoulder. A lot of shoulder impingements are simply down to the fact that your chest muscles are too tight and it's drawing the shoulder forward. The muscles in the back aren't stabilizing the shoulder blade, and they just get out of sync. So I do want to highlight the fact that if you are having a lot of shoulder pain, it's definitely worth having someone check that over. It's a very complicated joint. Raising that arm up. Okay, and then rolling that ball over to the other side now. And again, working that left shoulder. So yeah, if you're getting pain in the shoulder when we're elevating this arm overhead, then just dial it back a little bit. Maybe just lift it up halfway, out to the side. Like all of these things, if you're feeling that pain, it's really important you get the shoulder checked out, or any part of the body for that matter, just to make sure there's nothing else going on. A lot of these routines are around just maintaining, improving range of motion, And a lot of them I do include into my rehab programs. Just raising that arm up. Roll that ball down a little bit further. Let's make sure our breathing's in check. So these mobility routines are a part of the puzzle. So when we've done a routine like this, allow the body to adapt, but then maybe get into some of your movement routines like your downward dogs, your planks, so we start building strength and stability around those joints. If we just work on flexibility and mobility, then we're missing the other really important parts for optimal joint function. One last roll up to the top, into the top of that shoulder there, reaching overhead. So another great exercise to do in the evening when you've been at work or after a long drive, long road trip. Throw some music on. Put the TV on, and you can get your workout done in the evening while you're relaxing. Okay, good work. So for our final exercise, I just want you to get either a foam roller, the length of a yoga mat, or a rolled up yoga mat, or some kind of rolled up beach towel. I want you to lay that down, and we're just going to lay this directly down the centre of our back on our spine. So make sure the neck is supported either on the mat or popping a pillow underneath, and we're just going to open up the arms out to the side, lift the hips up a little bit. Okay, you'll just have to alter your position a little bit depending on what you're laying on. This is a fantastic one for, again, just opening up the chest, working through all that tension through the arms. And again, you may feel some kind of pins and needles or sensation running down the arms. If it feels a bit sketchy, then just ease out a little bit. There is a fine line between good discomfort and pain. None of this should be painful. If it is, then just seek advice. I get quite a lot of tension through my arms just with the work that I do. So this is a great one that I do most days. We just open up the arms. So we've got to move away from looking at the body as isolated muscles and look at myofascial chains, where if we look at the arm, for instance, fingertips connected up through the forearm, through the bicep, into the chest. So when we get our upper back into extension, we're opening up the chest and getting the arms out to the side. You get in a full body approach. So we can even put the hands behind our head here. Okay, and just open up. This is another great one. It just changes the orientation a little bit. Through into the elbows. And most importantly, this is just a really good exercise, nice and relaxing, where we can focus on our diaphragmatic breathing. Close our eyes, just take some time out. So a few more breaths here. And then when you're ready, coming back up into sitting. So just pop that mat to the side. We're just going to finish our session like we always do. On our back, hands out to the side, open up the feet. And let's get our breathing back into sync. Making sure we're breathing down into our belly. On the inhale, our belly is rising up. So you may want to put a hand on the belly. Right at the end of the inhale, expanding the chest a little bit. Hold for 1 to 3 seconds. And then exhale, nice and slowly matching the inhale. Empty the lungs. Let's aim to do a few more nice, deep, slow inhales. Keeping it nice and fluid. This is a great way to finish any training session. To acknowledge the workout, allow the body to adapt. You can feel the areas through the body that were worked. So make that your primary focus in your next session. Just gives you an idea as to where you hold your attention. So if you've got 5 or 10 minutes, I would thoroughly recommend you stay where you're at. Enjoy this moment, focus on your breathing. If you need to head off, thank you for joining me today. It was awesome having you on the mat. And I look forward to seeing you on the mat tomorrow. Thank you very much.